everybody. It's Modern Investing on Bot TV. My name is Sasha Star, and our guest today is Jim Eid from Eid Foundations. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you for having me, Sasha. Interesting day today.
Yes, actually, yesterday was also an interesting day, and day before that as well. So we are wa- walking through
Interesting
the
week. Yes.
very interesting days, weeks, months, probably soon. So, as investments are concerned, I think market is absorbing quite well everything what's happening in the Middle East. At least it's not collapsing as a lot of people predicted. It's holding its own. And yesterday was actually a very good earnings reports from Oracle, and
Yes.
that lifted the market quite a bit. And the Oracle stock itself, after the earnings, it went up well over 10%. It's still about 10% up now. And Oracle is a fairly large company. It's close to $1 trillion company. It's not heavyweight as Nvidia, Microsoft, and others, but it's uh, it's a fairly it's a quite
Sorry.
influential company, an influential report for that matter. So hopefully from this point, the market could resume its movement to higher highs. Although I'm not overly optimistic about that. I think the war in the Middle East has a lot to do with the next direction of the market. And I really don't see a quick resolution to this war. What about you, Jim?
No, Trump is particularly contradictory. And, you listen to him one moment, and the war has been a great success. And it's a strategic military operation, not a war, because only Congress can declare war. Um, Except that this does look a lot like war. He was bragging yesterday about sinking 46 Iranian ships, and he said they went after the biggest, and they decided to sink them rather than capturing them because it was more fun. This is the president of the United States talking about fun, killing people, sinking ships, and war is hell. It's not good for anyone. People die, and these acts that are, again, Congress has not declared war. Their president, it's a war by choice, the president's choice, and he's having fun. This is amazing. But then he will say that they're in it for the long haul, and he's thinking about mobilizing ground troops. And you know, how do you get to Tehran? Over a lot of miles. So mostly desert, but people will suffer along the way if he does do that, and he very well might. Who knows what he will do next?
I agree with you, Jim. And I've just seen a program recently where they show Iran capabilities. They have enormous amount of drones. The sea drones, and also their bombs and missiles, and they have tunnels kilometers long, and they're all full of these missiles and drones ready to go and hit American targets, Middle Eastern countries' targets. They're laying mines in the Hormuz Strait. And if Americans will not solve the Hormuz Strait in next 2 3 days, the prices for oil will start going higher again. And this time they will stay there. They're not going down anytime soon. So the world economy could suffer enormously.
Likely.
And US, of course, as a part of it, for sure. I think it's all very simple. There are two issues, and they're connected, of course. Strait of Hormuz is number one. If and when it will be dealt with one way or another. Number two is $5 per gallon on U.S. gas stations. $5. Over five, American people will not swallow it. Up to five, who knows? Over five, no. 5.50, no. $6 per gallon. they, they will. You know what will happen with $6 a gallon? I think if you heard the stories that the Pam Bondi, she moved from her apartment to American military base
Oh,
because she's scared of retaliation from American people. I think it will happen to all American senators, congressmen, all people. They will all will be living in the military bases.
it's such a shame. And you mentioned the drones, which is the war of the present as well as the future. And Ukraine is supplying drones to the Middle East. Now, Ukraine has used drones to devastating effect in targeting Russian naval forces and in the ground war as well. And now they're helping, even though they're still under attack. Another undeclared war, special military operation from Russia, initiated by Russia, and Ukraine has been steadfast in its defense. And the drone warfare capability that they have demonstrated has been, the marvel. And now they're helping other countries that are under attack from these Iranian missiles. And so it just you have to shake your head. And I also think that we saw that Hamas also had an underground uh, miles of underground places where they can store people and weapons. So yeah, I have no doubt that's true in Iran as well. And the strait that we're talking about, it's the shipping that a lot of Asia relies on this. We heard Dr. Sharif talk about the energy impact on Southeastern Asian countries, and because they can't import oil and energy as they used to. So it's there's a danger of crippling many economies, including our own. And as you say, Trump was, again, this is a fancy. He said, last time we bombed Iran, oil prices spiked and then they dipped right back down, as if they're going to happen again. That's it. And if the war continues, if you cannot get shipments of oil through that strait, and countries have not weaned themselves off of oil, and Trump is opposing any kind of energy initiatives in the United States that would help us wean off of oil. It's still dependent. The world economy is still dependent upon this, and so this is again one of the consequences of this war of choice that I don't think Trump took into consideration, or if he did, he minimized it and didn't expect it to have the repercussions that it's having. But it was easily predictable. I mean, you would have to be very uninformed to not predict the consequences of this special military action.
And what makes it so difficult is that Trump's administration is not very transparent of what's really going on. For example, they were quiet for some time about 150 U.S. servicemen who were wounded. And it's 150, it's kind of a number. There's 7 people dead and more to come for sure. I don't know if that's what American people wanted to see, and what's the benefit to American people from this war.
Yeah, I think over 50% of American, the United States citizens have expressed their disapproval of how it's been handled. But it's also a sign of autocracy when you're not transparent. And Trump has declared the press the enemy of the people. This is an autocratic statement where just don't report, just let me do what I'm doing. And so he's dismissive of Congress, he's dismissive of the Supreme Court. And so this expansion of the executive branch, the powers of the executive branch, is we have not seen it before, except in times of war when there are legitimate threats that have to be responded to. And that's not the case. This is a war of choice, a presidential choice, a man's choice, a person's choice, Trump's choice. And, the economic ramifications will be felt not just today, but for a long time to come. This is not a short-term blip, as Trump is trying to tell the American citizens. And at some point in time, the American citizens have to wake up, speak up, raise your voice, and speak out against people that are supporting Trump. All of his allies in the Senate, in the House, these people have to be voted out whenever they come up, if they've been supporting this type of action, because the American people don't want it. That's been clear. There's a small percentage of people that are going to, whatever Trump does is right. Whatever he says is right. But that's a dwindling number of people now. He'll always have that base of fanatical support based on personality, based on what they think is a tough guy. And we remember Teddy Roosevelt talking about the presidency as a bully pulpit. And the bully pulpit, in Teddy's mind, was that it was a good thing to have the people to rally around the president, this bully pulpit. But Trump is using it as a bully would use it. And he thinks that that makes him tough. And that, he's looking to go down in history as a tough guy. He's not a tough guy.
But I read very interesting papers just yesterday about that Trump's presidency, and it's more than presidency. We're talking about now 10 years. That Trump is from the early morning to the late evening, and sometimes at night it's Trump and Trump. And Trump, he lost or he won election, and another one he lost or he won, and nobody even knows and nobody cares. What they're analyzing, this is not anomaly for the United States. It's rather the consequences of the fact that a lot of people in the United States, they are linked, they are authoritarian minded people, and a lot of them are without high education, and a lot of them are not financially very advanced. But they feel that as long as they elect the right authoritarian, they will be looked after, and the right authoritarian will fix many things, where the Democrats, okay, they're going after this and inclusion and equality and all that stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, nobody knows what's going to happen. The right authoritarian, that's the name of the game. And the perception of Trump was exactly that, the right authoritarian, financially independent, multi-billionaire, who will look after people's interests, especially when he was campaigning. That what he was saying. He is standing there for a little guy. He will take care of a little guy. Little guy, vote for me. I'll take a look. I'll look after you. And where is all that? He promised he would never start any wars. Look at what's happening now. And what I've read lately, the international situation in the world keep changing, and not to the best. For example, Russia now, while they stopped this so-called peace negotiations with Kushner and Witko and all others, Ukraine using this pause to start incredible offensive against Russians. Russians are leaving the front lines. They're just running away from Ukrainians, and they have nowhere to run, because there's, before the border with Russia, there is nothing, nowhere to hide. And Ukrainians are not letting them go. They just keep killing them everywhere where they are retreating. And I think this month will be incredibly good for Ukrainians. And one of the commanders, Ukrainian commander, he just said, forget about territories. All you need is to kill 1,500 Russians a day. If you killed 1,490, find another 10. Keep it 1,500 as the minimum, and the war will be over in a few weeks.
Yes, but
Right?
does Putin and Trump have something in common in that they don't care about the little guy?
Well,
Putin,
exactly, I agree with you. But what I was leading to is that Putin understands that his Ukrainian card is not working. Ukrainians are actually, if they wish, they can cross the border with Russia and start occupying Russian territory. They can do it from military point of view. Absolutely, they are so much superior, more technologically advanced than Russians. They're also physically much stronger than Russians, so they can actually do that. Whether they will or not, that's another question. But what Russians now are doing, they're now looking at the Baltic states. They know that to have a winning war against Baltic states is much easier than against a very large country as Ukraine, because Baltic states are very tiny. I mean, all population of Baltic states, I don't know, 5 million people, maybe even less. So they can see, and now they can see that all this NATO, the fifth Article 5, they know that it's all garbage. It's not working, it's never been working. So they know that they can actually go and occupy Baltic states almost unpunished, and that's where they started already internal propaganda against the Baltic states. What they're saying is that they are not treating Russian population very well, and they don't allow them to have equal rights with local population, so on and on. So this is already in works, and I will not be surprised very much. I'm not going to be happy about that, but I'm not going to be surprised either if Russia will start in the near future military actions against the Baltic states.
well, that, as depressing as that is, um, you know, I think Putin has overextended his hand. He thought that he was going to be able to march straight into Kiev and take over,
Yeah,
and so I think if he tries to play the Baltic state card, he's probably going to underestimate the response there too. But when I look back at my stocks, what I'm seeing is it's a mixed bag, but more green than red. And what it's based on is the revenue reports that are coming out. Broadcom produced great revenues. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing produced great revenue. Nvidia is reporting. Marvell is reporting great revenues, and their prediction for the future is rosier. I mean, and I saw for Marvell in particular, MRVLs, the ticker tape, it's right now it's at 91, and people are predicting it to go up to 120, 130.
very possible. Yeah.
And so my target price was 100, and now it's 110. That I think I might sell if it hits 110. Because I try to discipline myself and have a target price that I will sell at. Because at that point, maybe I'll sell half, yeah, and keep half just to, in case there's more upside. But I want to take some money off the table if I've won, and and Nvidia, although it's at 185 today, which is just a slight tick up from yesterday, it seems to have hit the bottom of its as far as I can tell, and Sasha, you follow it even more closely than I do. It's up 8% over the last 6 months, but there's been some volatility, some ups and downs.
Absolutely.
And so I think now that it may be up, the upside is right around the corner. But the monkey wrench is still, what will Trump do next? AMD is doing very well. It got hammered. Oracle, as you mentioned, got tremendously hammered.
Yes.
But now it's reporting revenue, and they've done a good pivot to moving their operations into the cloud, or their with the software that they provide into the cloud. and they're going to reap the benefits of that in the future. And so a lot of this type of thing with the AI sector is the networking involved, keeping things so that you can use it in multiple locations. And the sharing of data is primary. And so some of the companies that are building up to support that are doing very well. But as far as the Main Street average business is going, I walked down the street of a very lucrative Silicon Valley town, and there's still, boarded up windows, and companies that could, brick and mortar kind of companies are still suffering. And the more things move to the cloud, the less likely people are to be shopping downtown or in malls the way they used to.
Yeah, I think brick and mortars is the dying proposition.
Yeah. It's so sad, though, because you used to have a bustling downtown. And I went to a restaurant that my wife and I loved, and we was downtown Palo Alto, and talking to the owner, because we've been going there for years and we know the owner, and she said that it used to have a lot of foot traffic, and she's not seeing that now. Dinner is still doing well, but the lunchtime traffic, which was generated by people going to the office and then going out to lunch, that's dried up. So it affects restaurants. Can they make a profit now? And and so what are you going to do? But if you want to eat at a nice restaurant, maybe that choice is going to be harder and harder to find in the future. And the thing about the prices that we talked about, you talked about the gas tank, but your grocery prices are going up. There was a report in California, and I'm sure this is true of the country in general, but it was California specific. And what are they most afraid about? And the number one thing that they were afraid about is bankruptcy based on health, some healthcare thing that would affect them, and then they wouldn't have enough money to afford it. The second most was housing, and that may be particularly acute here in the San Francisco Bay Area. But and the third thing was groceries. And so these things are, people are feeling the pinch. So
yeah, this is something that every family needs. It's three the most distinctive things that every family needs and uses every day, and it's go on for generations. I don't see that's changing very quickly.
And the current generation does not see them prospering in the near future. Or when I was growing up, I was part of the baby boomer generation in the United States, and people kept thinking that expected things to be better. And you got older, you got into the workforce, things would be better. And now the generation is thinking things are going to be worse. So, has Trump helped that sensation? No, Trump has exaggerated that. People have a feeling of doom. And Trump is playing into their fears. But do not be afraid. What's wrong with this country can be fixed by what's right with this country. And we have to remember that we're human beings, and to care about other people is not a sign of weakness. Bullying other people has never been the recipe for success. You don't rise up by stepping on the necks of someone else. Although you're taught that in business school, perhaps, that's not the way it works in real life. Cooperation is important. And this is true for the world economy as well. And the Republicans used to stand for free trade. And when we cooperate with the rest of the countries, then everybody prospers. But when we slap tariffs on them arbitrarily based on whether or not Trump likes you, this is a recipe for disaster, financial disaster around the world. And these wars of choice have repercussions financially, and people's prices, things that they pay for, groceries, energy, these types of things, they're going to continue to go up unless you go to the polls and you go to the voting booth and you vote for change. And this is essential. All United States citizens need to understand this. We cannot keep on this course. And the course correction is up to us, because we get the government we deserve.
Well, the problem is that, this midterm election, I think that Trump and his advisors figured out quite a while ago that they will lose. either house or both house and the Senate. So, in my opinion, the reason for this war is, well, number one is serving his master, and Trump's master is Bibi Netanyahu. So whenever Bibi says to start the war, Trump goes into war. So that's an easy one. Another thing is that he figured out that the war could actually rearrange the election parameters, including canceling election altogether. So this war is highly beneficial to Trump either way. First of all, most likely he will win his war. Bibi Netanyahu for sure already won his war, and maybe he will stop this war soon now, because he doesn't need continuation of the war anymore. Trump, I'm of the opinion there are two wars: one Israel against Iran, another one is U.S. against Iran. Israel, it's an existential war because Iran was threatening to annihilate Israel for the last 40-some years.
Yeah, it's a stated goal, right?
Yeah. What U.S. is doing in this war, what are U.S. goals in this war? Frankly, I don't understand. Well, serving Bibi Netanyahu, that one, and Trump's doing that very well, as he did a few months ago in June. By the way, a very interesting thing about the June war was it started, I believe, on 13th of June. And you know what was supposed to happen on 13th of June? You know that Bibi Netanyahu stands at least 3 trials in Israel.
Yes.
Trump was talking to President of Israel, Chaim Herzog, to annihilate all the charges against Bibi Netanyahu. He refused. So on 13th of June, Netanyahu was supposed to give testimony in one of his trials. And guess what? The war started exactly that day. So he could not provide testimonies. And then Trump participated in that war with this, how he said that all the Iranian nuclear program is obliterated. If it is obliterated, so a few months later, it's threatening to have a nuclear arms in the middle.
The contradictions are just stunning.
It's stunning. It's incredible.
And the other thing is they're playing this get out of jail free card, by using military force to keep themselves. People in times of war tend to not want change at the top, and so they both think that they can stay in power as long as people are afraid. And Trump actually did over 30 felony convictions, no consequences, and and he once said that Obama was going to strike Iran before the elections, and back when Obama was running, so that it would increase his popularity. Now, this is another thing that we see when Trump says someone's doing something, you can bet he's doing it, and that's why he suspects someone else is doing it. So he's doing exactly what he accused Obama. Obama never did it, but he accused Obama of it, and people laid it up. And now he's doing it. He's actually doing it, and people don't see why is he doing it, and they don't connect the dots. So hopefully shows like this, Sasha, will raise people's awareness. And I meet many people who are already, they're not fooled, because he conned a lot of people for a long time, but the con is wearing thin, and more people are onto him. People didn't trust him in New York City when he was there, so he had to go someplace else. The bankers wouldn't lend him any more money, so he had to go overseas to get money. And he used this get a loan to pay off the old loan, get a loan to pay off the old loan for as long as he could. But he's declared bankruptcy 6 times. He's convicted of 30 felonies, and this is the guy we elected. So we're getting what we deserve, but it's time to say enough is enough. Fool me once, then it's shame on you. Fool me twice, and he's trying to fool us 3 times. So this is really time for the United States citizens to stand up and be heard. Raise your voice, be heard.
Yeah, agree with you, Jim. I totally agree with you, and I hope we'll see very soon midterm elections are coming. And the longer Trump is in a war with Iran, the more chances that he will not do very well in midterm elections. And if that's the case, all I'm afraid is that he will find a way to cancel that election.
It's it's not without, it's within the realm of possibility, Sasha. It's never been before.
Yes,
Um, we had a presidential crisis when Nixon resigned, but there was never this fear that he would cancel the elections and stay in power. And this is a legitimate fear. There is nothing he won't do. This
yeah.
is what we have to understand.
Yeah, I remember January 6th, and I think now he has much more power than on January 6th, what he did. And that's why I'm afraid, and all these minions, they will support anything, whatever he will come up with. And so I'm afraid that, see, the democracy is not something what is there like a piece of real estate. Okay, you have a piece of real estate, you own it, and okay, that's fine. And democracy,
Fragile.
it's a moving mechanism. You have to create democracy. You have to defend democracy. You have to work at democratic values. And I don't think that people are ready to understand that it's a fact that democracy has to be defended.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that so many people have fought and died for democracy, and it is fragile, and people took it for granted, and this is the first clear and present danger that many of us
It is
face,
now. Yeah.
and many of us are reluctant to admit it's could happen. Of course, it can happen. History is full of examples of when it did happen. So there's nothing that means that it's out of the realm of possibility. So once you consider it as plausible, not just possible, but plausible that this would happen, then you need to show some outrage. This is a precious thing that we have, and it was given to us by our forefathers, and we were able to maintain it unchecked and unchanged for a long period of time, even under various stresses. And so this is not something that we can turn our heads and ignore or hope someone else takes care of. This is up for every U.S. citizen to take it personally, and vote accordingly. All of his economic promises, you see that they were nothing but lips flapping. He was talking up something. He predicted that if Biden got elected, the stock market would crash. We had 4 years of prosperity. So he's never been right about the economic. He doesn't understand the economy
There
because
was a crash on Liberation Day when he announced the tariffs.
the people that are prospering aren't just the 1%. They're not. They're the 0.1%. That's
Yes.
how few the people are. There's more billionaires than there have ever been before, and they are prospering greatly. And so there's a lot of money behind Trump's policies, and a lot of money behind the politicians that support Trump's policies. But this is coming from a very small fraction of the citizens of the United States. And the rest of them, not just the 99%, but even the 99.9% are feeling the pinch.
Yeah, our situation is critical. We don't know how long this war will last, and what's happened with the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of all world oil is going through, or used to go through, not
Yes.
anymore. And Iran is laying mines over there, and they are ready with all these drones and sea drones and missiles. No, I don't understand what U.S. Now he promised he will never lay boots on the ground, and maybe
Promise.
there's no progress that he can make without boots on the ground. And boots on the ground in a country like Iran,
Yeah.
it's thousands of dead, and I don't know if American people will go for it, because I don't see any benefits for American people in this war except much higher oil prices. What are the benefits? Even one? I don't see any.
Yeah, and it was a lie that he was helping Venezuela, the people of Venezuela, by kidnapping their president and his wife.
No, it's a money grab. It's an oil
Yeah,
grab. And
it's oil grab. It was oil. Yeah.
and also some gold. I think that that model emboldened him to try something on a bigger stage with Iran, because Iran has a lot of oil, a lot of gold. So if he will do this strategy against Iran and will be successful, there could be enormous benefits for, at least for him and himself and his friends, maybe for some American people. And I don't see that happen at all. No. So far, it's just pain.
Yes.
Pain and more pain. But we'll see. Well, we have to be vigilant. We'll have to walk all the way through. There are a lot of moving parts that we are not aware of and we don't know of. But it will be all revealed at any time soon. Jim, thank you so much for today's program.
Thank you, Sasha.
See you next week. Now, I wanted to say same place, same time, but I will be traveling next Wednesday. So can you try to do our program on Tuesday instead? Say at 12 o'clock, maybe?
Sure. We'll work it out.
Work it out, yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Permission from our producer, too.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, we can definitely do it at 12 o'clock on Tuesday. So we'll do that on 12 o'clock on Tuesday. So sounds good. And we're getting ready to get y'all on out of here. Good advice y'all are giving them on what's going on with the economy. So we'll get ready to get out of here. We'll see y'all later on other shows here on Pod TV. So I'll catch you later on, Sasha, on World Edition and some of the other shows.
All righty.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.